let me let me start off this video by saying this. I am fully aware that Ken Holland is not a magician. I fully understand that he was left with a mess. I fully am aware that Ken Holland does not possess a magic wand that he can just wave around saying Wingardium Leviosa and things just clean themselves up. I am fully aware that this kind of thing takes time. That being said, Ken Holland sucks as Oilers GM so far. I give him a big fat fucking F for his offseason. What the fuck are you doing, Ken? You have had two opportunities to address our most glaring need, and you elect to ignore it. Let me backpedal a bit so you guys can get a bigger concept of what I'm talking about. For those of you who do not know, my name is Alex and I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. Yes, feel free to laugh at me as you please. Now, that being said, I've been a fan of the Edmonton Oilers since their cup run in the 2006 season. I had just moved to Sherwood Park, Alberta in 2005 from Ontario, Canada, and I was growing up as a Leafs fan. So, naturally, when I moved to Alberta, I intended to remain being a Leafs fan. But what I found out is that it's kind of hard to figure out what's going on in Toronto when you're living in Edmonton. As such, in the 2005-2006 season, after the year-long lockout, I found it was a lot easier to go to Oilers games than it was to go to Leaf games. Just so you guys are aware, Leaf games I went to one a year. I went to, if I remember correctly, 3 straight games between 2002 and 2004, and once every year. The first year I lived in Edmonton, I went to at least 5 in 1 year. I might be exaggerating that number. I know I went to 3 at least. But the point still stands. It was much easier for me to go to hockey games in Edmonton than it was to go to hockey games in Toronto. So, when the Oilers made the playoffs in the 2006 season, jumped on the bandwagon. It was a team that was local. It was a team that I surprisingly enjoyed watching. And it was a team that, it was in the playoffs. You watched for that. And I became a fan, and I haven't gone back on them ever since, despite the fact that they have given me every reason why I should. Now, right now, the team is in disarray, and we can all thank that to mostly Peter Chiarelli. He signed some players to some contracts that really haven't panned out. He has signed some players that honestly didn't do anything. He has signed some players that have jumped out of a plane without pulling a parachute and face planted into the earth. And yeah, and he's made some horrible trades in the name of saving cap space and then putting that cap space to not good use. So he left us in a bit of a mess. And like I said to preface this video, Ken Holland isn't a wizard. He doesn't possess a magic wand that he can just wave around and all of our problems go away. But as I also said, he's had 2 opportunities to make something better of what we have. Let's start at the draft. The 2019 NHL entry draft was a couple weeks ago, and I say that it was more like 2 or no, it was a couple weeks ago. And and what ended up happening was the Oilers decided to take a defenseman. A defenseman a defenseman who was projected to go higher than he was taken, and I'm talking like mid-teens till early 20 overall. He's a defenseman who's at least 5 years away from being, for at least 3 years, maximum 5 years from being NHL ready. And he has some hockey IQ problems. because drafting a player who has problems with their hockey IQ has never been a problem in Edmonton. Never. No. There was not the problems with Yale Yakupov and Jesse Puljujärvi. No problems there. Furthermore, when the Oilers were on the clock at 8th overall, keeping in mind, they had a higher pick this year than they did last year. Last year, they took a defenseman at 10, but that one actually made sense because it was a defenseman who filled a positional and organizational need. Right-handed shot who can quarterback a power play. That is why nobody complained. Okay, I will rephrase that. Some people complained because they thought they should have taken someone else who played the same position, but mostly everyone was okay with the pick. This year, they have an organizational need for a top 6 winger, and they choose a defenseman. You have a problem at forward, so you pick a defenseman? Let me put it into an analogy some people can understand. Any of you who drive a car know that the car has needs that need to be, fulfilled. One of those needs being a tank of gas. If you have no gas, your car can't go. Here's what the Oilers did. Here's how I would describe the Oilers draft, using the analogy of a car. They pulled up to the gas station, needing gas, and they fill up the tires with air. You have a need and you elect to ignore it for a thing that will not become an issue for a few years. Now, people have told me people have been trying to defend this move as, the Oilers are planning for the future. And which is fine, I understand it. The future is unknown to us, and we don't know what's going to happen today, or like a few hours from now, tomorrow, a week, a month, 5 years, 6 years. We don't know. You can't. No one has a crystal ball that goes, I see your future. No, we don't have that. If we did, our lives would be so much better, right? I would be, if I had a crystal ball 5 years ago, I'd be able to know what is happening today and I would make changes to improve that. But anyway, we don't have a crystal ball. But my question to that statement that, they're planning for the future. Okay, my question, does that future include Connor McDavid? Does that future include Leon Draisaitl? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, that people may have not considered. By the time Philip Broberg, let's assume that Philip Broberg takes the maximum 5 years to be NHL ready. By the time he is ready to be playing in the National Hockey League, Connor McDavid could be saying adios to the Edmonton Oilers and taking his talents elsewhere. Because guess what? Connor McDavid's current contract ends in 5 years. It's gone. It's done in 5 years. So you're telling me you draft a defenseman who could be ready by the time that your star, franchise, and cornerstone player, the player that everyone in Edmonton turns out to see, could be gone. If you thought you had problems at forward before, if you thought there were problems at forward now, imagine the hole that is going to be left when Connor McDavid leaves. And let's not forget, Leon Draisaitl's contract ends a year earlier. So even Leon Draisaitl could say, screw you guys, I'm gone. A year before McDavid. So not only do you draft a defenseman who's ready from 5 years from now, but by the time he's NHL ready, your two best players on your team could be gone. And they both happen to be at forward. You see what I mean? They pull up to the gas station with a need to fill up gas, and they fill out their tires with air. You fill a need, you fill up a thing that isn't necessary, and elect to ignore the thing that is. Now, you could also make the analogy that, there's other gas stations down the road. Okay, let's take a look at the next gas station, free agency. Now, again, there were other needs that needed to be filled, and free agency is another way to do that. The thing with the draft is you can fill multiple needs, but a lot of those needs take a few years down the road to be effective, right? Even people have been telling me that, even if they drafted a forward at 8, it would have been at least a year, which is fine. My question then is, well, what's worse? Drafting a forward who's a year from being ready, or drafting a defenseman who's at maximum 5? So now we look at free agency. Now, when Ken Holland met with the season ticket holders a few weeks into his tenure as GM, and keeping in mind he was only hired like 2 months ago, he made 3 promises, or he had a checklist of things that he wanted to get done in the offseason. Backup goaltender, bottom 6 forward, top 6 forward. Not too shabby. Now, free agency, perfect opportunity to fill all 3 of those needs. And it helps that they just bought out Andre Sekera, giving them a little more cap space. So, what does he do on free agency? He gets the back goaltender, a 36-year-old injury-prone backup goaltender, but a backup goaltender nonetheless. And he signs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottom 6 forwards. 2 of them were re-signed, and he has 3 newcomers. Again, free agency, $12 to $13 million in cap space, and you think that it's okay to waste it 90% of it. I think they have like 2 or 3 million left on 6 guys, 5 of which are bottom 6 forwards, and one of them being a injury-prone old goaltender. Ken Holland, fail. You have failed thus far. I am, and headphone users, you might want to turn down the volume a bit, just so you are aware. I am sick and tired of this management lying to me. I have been on Twitter, on OilersNation.com, Sportsnet, everywhere where you can comment about hockey. I have been commenting. And I have been saying that he has failed thus far. And this is the reason why. He has blatantly ignored our greatest problem in favor of signing or drafting players that do not help us now. He made a statement. He made a promise that we were going to make the 2019-2020 playoffs. Great! What have you done to further that agenda? Oh, right! Fucking nothing! Yes, you've improved the bottom 6. Yes, we may have a goalie who could have a good bounce-back season and might not get injured. But what have you really accomplished? What are you doing about the glaring need in your top 6? Nugent Hopkins still needs a winger to play with, and you do not have one. When Alex Jason and Zach Cassian are your highest scoring wingers, you have a problem! You have issues at your forward depth! You have problems and you need to address those! Ken cannot go into September or August or October with the current forward core! He cannot! I've been told online that, oh, I must be fun at parties, or, oh, give him a chance. I have been a fan of this team for 13 years. 1 3. A decade of my life. More than a decade of my life. I am 25 years old. 13 of those 25 years, I am a fan of the Edmonton Oilers. Want to know how many times they have made the playoffs in those 13 years? Twice. Once, when they made the Cup Finals in 2006, when I became a fan of the team. And the second time was 3 years ago. 3 seasons ago, when they made the playoffs in 2017. 2 playoff appearances in 13 years. I have been criticized for criticizing the team. I have been told that I'm not a real fan because I'm criticizing the team. I have been told to give the management a chance when I've been giving them a chance for 13 fucking years. Enough is enough. I am tired of this management group. I am tired of this management group making promises, doing bullshit moves that really don't help, and then somehow expecting us to just buy it in droves. I am tired of them expecting that we're not going to question their logic when it comes to drafting or developing or trading or signing or playing because they're somehow smarter than us. I am tired of being told I'm not a real fan because I criticize a team that I cheer for. No. Not being a real fan is just blindly accepting what they're selling. This management group for 13 fucking years has been selling and selling and selling and selling and selling, and I am not buying it anymore. I'm not. I am not going to be brainwashed into believing that this year is their year. This year's going to be different. It's not. Again, I understand that Ken Holland doesn't have a lot to work with, but he has had 2 opportunities. 2! And he has pissed them away. You could have signed a Ryan Dzingel on free agency day. Oh yeah, by the way, Ryan Dzingel got signed by Carolina for a really pretty good contract. Where were you on that one, Ken? It seems to me that management doesn't care. I'm saying it. The management in Edmonton does not care. They don't. Because if they cared, we would have drafted a forward instead of a defenseman at the draft. If they cared, we would have spent a little extra money on a top 6 forward. If they cared, they would have hired a GM who's forward thinking rather than hiring a GM who's trying to rebuild the 2008 Detroit Red Wings. And if they cared, they would have done things to ensure that we made the playoffs more than twice in 13 years. The Edmonton Oilers management and the owner does not care. And let me make one thing perfectly clear, because I want to set the record straight. I understand that Daryl Cates is going through some health problems, and I am fully aware that he hasn't been able to do many of the jobs that he would normally be required to do as owner because of these health issues, and I wish Daryl Cates the best in his recovery. But that should not make him exempt from criticism. Because before he had these health problems, he did nothing. He hired his old Oilers buddies, who used to be players because, oh, they won the Stanley Cup as players, therefore they can win the Stanley Cup as management. Daryl Katz is not exempt from criticism from me. As I said, I understand he's going through health problems. I wish him the best. I hope he's able to recover. But that does not mean I'm going to be going easy on him. I understand he has not been around the team the past few months or maybe the past few years because we really don't know how long this illness has been going on. Again, transparency issues and all that. We don't really know, or maybe they did and I just forgot. So I understand he hasn't been around as much as he'd like to we'll just give him the benefit of the doubt, say the last couple years or so. So we'll say a couple years. He hasn't been around as much as he wanted. That's fine. I understand that. I'm totally understanding of that situation. And again, like I said, I wish him the best. I hope he recovers, and I hope he's able to come back and do what he needs to do. But what was he doing before all this? Hey, you're Kevin Lowe. You were a Stanley Cup winning defenseman. BGM. Hey, you're Craig McTavish. You're the last guy to go helmetless in the NHL. You won a couple cups with Edmonton. Run the team. Hey, you're Peter Chiarelli. You won a Stanley Cup with Boston. You're hired. We don't need to interview you. Hey, you're Ken Holland. You're a pretty good GM. You won a couple of cups with Detroit. We don't need to interview you. You're hired. You see what I mean? They make these stupid moves and then they just expect us, the fans, to eat it up in droves. Well, that may be good for some of you, but for me, it's not flying anymore. It's not. You made a promise. You made a promise. Now fucking deliver on it. I'm going into this season with zero expectations. Actually, no. I'm sorry. No. I'm going with the expectation they're going to suck. Yeah. That's kind of the reality of the situation. Because that's all this team knows how to do. With the exception of 2 years. They just suck. So why should I care? This is fucking stupid. Oh, boy. Look, if Ken can't do anything by the time training camp starts, then he's failed as GM. I don't care what happens. He's failed. Until I see a noticeable improvement, he's failed. If he manages to pull off a ridiculous trade between now and training camp starts, fine, whatever. I'll measure my expectations based on that trade. The problem that I have with Ken and trading, though, is that Ken Holland is the kind of guy who avoids trading players at all costs. He is the guy who does the least amount of player-for-player trades. Which makes his choices at the draft and free agency all the more infuriating. 2 opportunities to get a player without having to give up a player. At the draft, all you need to do is just say a name. That's all you need to do, and that player is yours. At the free agency, all you have to go is, here's a little money, and you get a player. You don't need to give up a player to get a player in those 2 instances. And he has decided, bye-bye. People have told me, and people have said on social media, that the fact that Ken Holland didn't spend any big money is a win. Oh, that's great. That's Fantastic. Meanwhile, we still have a glaring problem that needs to be dealt with. But yeah, no, good job, Ken. You didn't spend any money. That's a win in our eyes. Doesn't matter. We still have a problem at Ford. You didn't spend any money. You know, I just realized I have a new phrase for this team. I'm going to coin this phrase for this team. The attitude that the management has displayed, that some of the fans have displayed, we're the good hockey team. Hey, we have an opportunity to draft a forward when we need one, but let's draft a defenseman because we're the good hockey team. Hey, we have an opportunity to spend a little extra cash on free agency, but we're not going to do it because we're the good hockey team. Hey, we have all of these RFAs or UFAs still unsigned. We still have a little cap space left. And we still have some players that we can trade. But we're not going to do that because we're the good hockey team. That is the attitude this management has taken. Hey, we just lost 10-2 in our own rink to the Buffalo Sabres. But it happens to every team in the league. We're the good hockey team. Hey, we just got shelled 8-2 in our own barn by the Chicago Blackhawks. But it happens to everyone. We're the good hockey team. That is the attitude that this management has displayed. They are the superior brains. They are the superior guys. They know everything. They are the smartest guys in the room. Therefore, we don't need to do anything because we're the good hockey team. We have all of these problems and we're not good just because we're the good hockey team. Hey, we have Connor McDavid. We don't need anyone else. We're the good hockey team. Who is this Ryan Strome guy? He's not very good. We're the good hockey team. We're gonna trade him for what's his name? God damn, I forgot the name. Whatever. Hey, Taylor Hall. Yeah, you're our points leader for nearly 6 years straight. I see. Look, we're gonna need defensive help, so we're gonna trade you for a guy who is pretty good. But we're not going to get anything in return because we're the good hockey team. Hey, Jordan Eberle, your playoffs were kind of disappointing. We're going to trade you to the New York Islanders for Ryan Strome because, as we said, we're the good hockey team. And yet, shock of all shocks, they're not. They're not the good hockey team. They're not the smartest guys in the room. It says something when teams who rebuilt years after Edmonton began their rebuild are now better in the shorter amount of time. The New York Rangers began a rebuild last year and they're already better than us. How do you do that? The Maple Leafs, the fucking Maple Leafs, 2015 declared, you know what? Fuck it, we are starting over. Everyone in management, you are gone. Everyone except for you, Kyle Dubas, because we believe you'll be a good GM one day. You are staying. As are you, Mark Hunter. Hey, Mike Babcock, come be your new coach. 4 years later, they're one of the best teams in the league. They have John Tavares, for fucking sake! They just got Tyson Berry and Alex Kerfoot! Other teams this offseason have managed to move bad contracts. Look at, and hey, going back to Toronto, Marleau and Zaitsev, gone! Both of them gone! Yeah, it involved using a roster player and a couple of draft picks, but they are gone! They got rid of the the Marlowe contract. They got rid of the Zaitsev contract. Two contracts we thought were not going to be movable. And they're gone. And what is Ken Holland doing? Da 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 da. Hey, Michael Granlund, you're signed. Da 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 da. Hey, Thomas Jurko, you're signed. Da 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 da. Every team in the league has improved, except for us. And why? Because we're the good hockey team. Ken Holland, your off-season so far, and I want to emphasize that, so far, fail! You have failed! I can give a rat's ass what you've done with the management! You have failed! You have not done what you have to do! You have made a promise, and the best you come up with are 6 guys who can't help us! Gee! What's Ken Holland up to today? Da 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 da. And for those of you who can't see, I'm doing this. I'm twiddling my thumbs. I know you can't see it on the camera because my camera is like this and you can't see it. But yeah, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs because that is what Ken Holland is doing. He's just sitting on his ass doing nothing. I mean, sure, he might be making calls, he might be inquiring about people, but it seems like he's just sitting on his ass, twiddling his thumbs. Every other team is making improvements internally or externally. They are getting players that make their team better. They are getting rid of players so they can free up cap space to sign some of their RFAs. And what is Ken Holland doing in all this? Da 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 da. He has failed. And yeah, I'm going to be that guy. I am not satisfied, because why should I be? This team has not satisfied me. Think of it like this. People often forget that hockey is a business. The Edmonton Oilers, although they are a sports team, they are also a business. They have a product that I am unhappy with. And somehow it's wrong to call out the company when they make a product that I don't like. Sure, I can't return anything. I can't go to them and go, oh, I want you to return something to me. I can't do that. But what I can do is write a complaint or say a complaint. Why is this a shock to anyone? Oh, you're just being insensitive and mad. What do you think? 2 playoff appearances in 13 years. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little upset. I don't want them to win the cup. I want them to make the goddamn fucking playoffs once in a while. Toronto has made the playoffs for 3 straight years. How does that happen? Oh, wait, because they have a better management group who knows what the fuck they're doing. They don't have a management group that's going, oh, we're the better hockey team. No, they have a management group that goes, okay, how can we improve our team? Well, let's try this and do this and do this. And they're doing it. This video's creeping up on 35 minutes. I think I've said all I need to say. I think I've made my point. I don't need to continue. I want to continue, but I don't think I need to. So, let me end it with this. I was never a fan of the Holland hire to begin with. I never was. I went on podcasts saying, yeah, the more I think about it. No, 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 no. That was just me saying stuff for the sake of saying it. I was against the Holland hire from day one, and I still am. Because he has done nothing to prove me wrong. He has done nothing to instill me with confidence. And you guys can say, oh, well, he doesn't have much to work to begin with, all you want. And I agree. He has a mess that is not going to be an easy fix to clean up. I get that. But Boston was able to clean up Peter Chiarelli's mess with relative ease. Sure, may not have looked easy, but it... But they seem to come out okay. And what is our team doing? They're sitting on their asses, twiddling their thumbs, and doing nothing. And that is what I cannot stand. The fact that they believe that they don't have to do anything, and everything will be alright. You signed... I don't get it. I don't get it. How can... So, I'm going to end the video by saying this. My name is Alex. I've been an Oilers fan since 2006. I am tired of the losing. I am tired of the lies. I am tired of the brainwashing bullshit this team is trying to sell. I am tired of the we're the good hockey team attitude. I am tired of this management group. And until changes are made that are satisfactory to me, I will not sit in silence. I will not be afraid to criticize them for their stupid ass moves that they make. And I am not going to sit behind a computer, go online to Twitter and go, oh, I think they're doing a good job. Oh, praise be to Ken Holland. I am not going to do that. They have pissed me off, and they are never going to hear it, live it down. Oh, and one more thing. If Connor McDavid decides to A, demand a trade, which given his character he probably won't, but what the more likely scenario is, B, leave via free agency, this management has failed forever. That will be the ultimate failure of this organization. The fact that you had a star player gift wrapped for you and you do nothing with him is abysmal. Connor McDavid has been in the league for 4 years. They have wasted 2 of those years. The only 2 they didn't waste, his rookie season and his playoff year, are the only years where I can give them a pass for anything. These past 2, though, you have failed. And that's what this organization is all about right now. Failure. I'll see you all later. Follow me on Twitter. I will link my Twitter profile down in the description. Feel free to comment with your thoughts on the team. And I mean this in the most sincerest way. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I don't want to end this video being the pissed off man. I want to be, because you know what? I'm not a man who's pissed off. I'm a very nice, kind person who is open to opinion. So honestly, please, ladies and gentlemen, anyone who sees this video, leave your comments down below. Please tell me what you think of this management group. Tell me what you think of the direction the team is going. And you know what? I'm happy to be proven wrong. Honestly, I am, especially when it comes to sports. If I'm saying right now this management group sucks and they're doing all these things don't make sense and then they make the playoffs, I will happily go, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. I will happily do that. But they need to do stuff to make me go, oh, I might have been wrong. So far, they haven't done that. So please, comment down below. Tell me what you think. Do you think that this is the management group we should be putting our faith in? Or are you going, yeah, I think we're going to just kind of hold off on that for a bit and we'll just see what happens? Let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Hopefully with another video. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll make a video if they make a trade. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, wait. Make a trade! Sorry, I forgot. We have a GM who doesn't like making trades. Oh, stupid me. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Thank you guys for watching. Click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Adios.